guys, welcome back to the channel. I hope that you're doing really well. I'm actually carrying on filming the day that I left you, which is when I said we're going to be doing coving in the living room. I went to B&Q, I picked up the Nyack coving from B&Q, £30 a packet of 6, 2 metre strips each, so you're getting around 12 metres per packet. Turns out this box will not work that I bought. This is the Magnuson Coving mitre block, and it only works on 100ml or 127ml coving. Now I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to go back to what I know and just use my mitre saw. So let's open up one of the covings, put it on the wall, see what it looks like, see if we're happy with how it looks, and potentially make a start on it, because I don't know how long this is actually going to take. Well, that's gorgeous, isn't it? Oh, that's lush, that. So I'm watching this video and this is really helpful. This is by DIY with Max and it's how to cut crown moulding in 3 minutes. I'll leave it linked down below, but he makes it so simple, literally in 3 minutes, how to cut every single internal and external mitre cut. Copying some of his tips, he's also said to start on your mitre saw, if you've got one, with some tape, and then you're going to draw a line where the crown moulding needs to sit against. So we're going to do that now. And then with the moulding, so you need to make sure to get perfect angles, you need to make sure that your crown moulding is always upside down when you come to cut it, but also that it is sitting flush against the side and the base. So it has to, if you cut it like this and then you cut it like this on the next time and then you cut it in the middle the next time after, it's never going to give you perfect angles and you're going to get really frustrated. So one pointer, you have to make sure that the base and the sides are lined up against, as if they're against a wall. Right, that looks pretty good in terms of it being flush straight. Right, and then Rob made a really good point. So if you had asymmetrical coving, ours is symmetrical, you can see it's exactly the same both sides if you split it in the middle. If you had asymmetrical, you want to put it upside down, so the top of the coving should sit on the base of the mitre saw. So the point of this is now every single time I go to make a cut, I know exactly where to put my crown moulding up to, so I'm hopefully always going to get the right measurements, but we'll see, fingers crossed. Okay, we've also measured out that we want to cut a small external and internal mitre cut, so we're going to have 2 on this one. I'm going to start with the internal one first, and the internal is going to be on the left hand side of the internal wall. So actually, let me show you. Cutting this internal mitre on the left, and it's also going to give us an external mitre, but that's technically on the right hand side. So this is the corner, this is the right external, this is the corner, this is the left internal. Hope that makes sense.
A thumbs down for the camera.
It looks great here.
Yeah.
But it's too far out from the end. I think the blade on the mitre saw took too much off. It's not bad, but it's not perfect. Okay, we had to have a little bit of time off camera because I was getting really frustrated with making all of the calculations. We seem to have gotten into the swing of things, and this is how it is starting to come together. I do really like it. I'm kind of considering, should we have gotten a bigger one or not? I can't figure it out. I don't know if this is not as grand as I wanted it to, but also kind of looking at most of it up now, it does look really nice, and I think it does catch the shadows of the trim design. It looks much nicer than the C-shape one we had before. I knew that I wanted more coving, but I knew I wanted it to have a bit more of a design, so I'm really happy with that. Actually, this is the polystyrene stuff, and it is not very nice to get used to using, but once you do get used to using it, it's not too bad, and it's not as fragile as you may think it is. A couple of tips that I've learned online: use a couple of nails to hold it in place. So I've used 2 on the base and 1 on the top for each length, even the long ones, just to kind of hold them in place. I haven't glued anything yet. This is to make sure we've got all of the joins and mitre's perfect. The one on the left is delicious. The one on the right has a tiny little bit of a gap, tiny, but it might just be where some of the walls aren't particularly straight, because remember we just had all of that ceiling and the walls plastered. Another top tip, this part here, the tape is a game changer, and I'll tell you what else is a game changer. On that same video, the guy suggested to make some examples for the external left and right, and then the internal left and right, and we've been using these to make sure that we're cutting things, and this is going to really reduce the error margin that we're going to have in terms of cuts and make sure that we're not going to waste any product. We actually haven't wasted any product so far, which is great. Touch wood. This is how you join two side pieces like that, and they attach like butter, which is lovely. Obviously we've just got nails in place now, so nothing is glued onto the walls, and we need to finish this corner section, which we've just gone and cut this. Now see, every single piece you cut is probably going to be quite different. So we've got a side attachment piece here, which will attach to the exposed bit there, and then we've got an internal left hand corner. Putting this in place, it should get in place. I can't do this one handed. I'm going to go and pop you on the tripod and show you properly. And I've got my nails, so I'm going to nail it in place. And here comes our first problem. So we've just cut some pieces and they weren't working, and we recut them and they didn't work again. But the issue is we actually have non-square walls. So do you want to give them a little wiggle? So that's a set square, which is a perfect 90-degree angle. And as you can see,
it's about a centimetre out.
Yeah, it's quite a lot out. So not sure what to do about this. Either a filler job, which won't look as good, or it's trying to work out the different angles, which I don't think we're going to be able to do, at least not very easily. So yeah, we'll have a think and we'll come back. Good morning, it's the next day. This is how we're looking. I came down this morning to have a look at it to see how I felt. I couldn't sleep last night. I didn't go to sleep till 2 AM. I just had this gut feeling that I'd made the wrong decision in terms of the sizing of the coving. And even when I came down this morning, I was still really disappointed, and I was like, yeah, I think I've made the wrong decision. I'm gonna have to buy a bigger coving. This one is 85 millimeters. And then the ones that I was looking at online, which had really good reviews, were I think like 165 millimeters. Now that's pretty much double what we've got here, which I didn't know if it was going to be quite excessive. I don't mind how deep it comes onto the wall. It's more so the ceiling, especially as it was all white. It felt like it made the ceiling feel even bigger, which made the walls feel even shorter. But I want to try and bring the walls up. We don't have super tall ceilings here in this household. I want to bring the height up as much as possible. So I took a step away and I came back, and I've actually painted this little corner here. I took it down because we didn't stick anything on. Genius. Took it down, painted it and popped it back up, and immediately I'm like, yeah, okay. Fine, we're good to go. I really like how that looks. You can still see all of the detail of the coving. It brings the height of the ceiling up more, well, of the walls up higher. The ceiling doesn't feel so, like, it just feels like it's like, just too much at the minute. So yeah, that's what we're gonna do. We're gonna paint all of the coving to match the walls. And even Rob made a good point. He said, we're hoping to paint the double doors over there either a black colour or a white colour. We're still undecided. And he said, if we were to paint it white, with the coving and the door frame and the doors being white, and then we've also got our sliding doors at the back, which are white too, it would just feel like a lot of white. And I'm really trying to make it feel more cosy in here. So I think that's the right decision. We're going to paint the coving. I'm also considering painting the architraves and the skirting to match too, but we'll have to see. But I think I will paint those too, and I think that will really help to just, yeah, add a little something onto the walls. But yeah, what do you think? I'm going to get to it today. We're going to carry on filling the rest of the room. We've got quite a lot left. We've got to complete just that side of the window, this entire strip of wall, and then we've got a tiny little bit behind the TV too. I think for this entire length of wall, it takes about 1, 2, 3, just under 4, around about 4 strips. So that's what, 8 meters. It's working out well. I'm happy. I'm happy with that decision to paint that coving. Looks beautiful, and I think it will hide even more little mishaps if there are any. Oh, she's mine. 너체가 달렸던 나. Let's just take it slowly. 늦은 어떤 때 같은 곳을 바라보고 있잖아. Go anywhere you want to.
need the pressure. Oh, sometimes wish I knew it too. Fly away from tomorrow. 이제는 너무 멀리 와버렸던 거야. Yeah, I need you need me too. I'm still chasing that mind all the time. Yeah, I need you need me too. 그땐 신기루. 그대로 나 돌아간다면 다시 한번 또 나 바꿔주고 싶어 어렸던 내 맘을. Baby you jump to your castle now. 내린 타이밍 이젠 빨리 흘러가겠지. 그때가 그립다고는 못하겠어 난. 아직 쫓아가고 있어 사실 난. Oh, sometimes wish I.
Last night we got all of the coving up and stuck to the wall, and I also painted it. I'm gonna say that painting the coving before you put it on the wall is a game changer personally, even though I'm gonna have to go around and paint it all again because I'm caulking it now, but still I think it really made a difference and it really helped me to visualize how the room was gonna look at the end of everything. So this morning I just want to get it all finished, so we're gonna do caulking, filling, patching and then final painting, and I thought I'd show you what I've got going on here. So I've thrown on some old DIY clothes. I also have a little dust bin bag attached to me for all of my wipes and tissues that are going to get messy. I'm going to throw them in there straight away because caulk is very sticky and it can make things very messy, especially materials. I don't want to get anything on sofas or armchairs or, you know, anything that I value, so putting them straight in there. I also have a little bit of kitchen roll attached to my front, so if I need to wipe off the tip of the caulk gun or something I can do. And I also have a wipe on my shoulder. The wipes are essential for getting a clean, smooth finish. Now I've never used wipes before. Usually I use fairy liquid and I spray it down and then use my finger or a tool to wipe things down. However, I don't want to spray something like fairy liquid and water onto this because it's just polystyrene and it's already been painted. It's going to make things messier than they need to be. So I saw on TikTok a little tip to use a wipe. I also have one glove on just to keep things tidy. These are the marigold blue gloves that we use for cooking and all sorts as well. And then the caulk that I'm using is the Axo Noble Brilliant White Polyfiller Decorators caulk, but you can use any. This is just what I had in the garage. I also have No Nonsense Decorators caulk. You just want to go for one that says it's no shrink, paintable within a certain time. A couple of tips: if you cut the tip of the caulk applicator at a slight angle and you take a little bit off at a time until you get the perfect nozzle shape, and you want to direct it into the angle and go along with where you're trying to caulk, so it kind of like smooths things out as you go. Let it all dry for about an hour or so and then you can go in and paint. I'm going to be caulking the corners, the tops and bottoms and any joins between all of the clothing.
Usually I don't post, but I want the world to know. Time to pull the drop tops out. Summer nights, it's a vibe, yeah. We've been keeping it in the house, Netflix and chillin', I GDM'in', yeah. Share my love till I found someone I'm sure of, young and untamed. I've been out of range, keeping it low, but I wanna be bold with it. Don't care who we told about it. Well, baby, got a hold on it. Don't let love unfold tonight. They'll be calling us gold. No lies, so fair with it. You can let them stare at it. Now I'm prepared. Instead of love out loud, since we ain't going nowhere. So tonight.
So it's been a few days since I painted the coving, we stuck it on and I filled it, and I've also gone around and repainted it, which I didn't show you, and it was actually a little bit fiddly. I'm not gonna lie, that top part of the coving to the ceiling, you need a steady hand. Now you could go in and line it with masking tape, which would be a great idea if you haven't just had your ceilings plastered and you haven't just done a mist coat and paints and coats of paint. I didn't want to risk that because although it's been probably, you know, a good few days to a week since the ceiling paint paint has settled, it probably would still rip quite easily with masking tape, even if I used, you know, the blue tape or whichever tape is the weaker one, which is better for doing those sorts of jobs. So I just decided to freehand it. It looks great. I love it. I'm obsessed with it. I really am happy that we decided to take down the old coving, and I knew that I wanted a more decorative style to the coving. So on my last video I did get a question, why is it that we took the coving down? That is simply the reason, is because I knew that I wanted a slightly more decorative feel to it. The one that we had is the kind of plain C shaped moulding, which does look gorgeous as well, but I just knew I wanted something a little bit more in the living room. I have no qualms with the coving, considering it's the polystyrene version. So you can get 3 types: polystyrene, which is, as you can imagine, and then you can get poly duo or something like that, duo poly, which is kind of like a more dense polystyrene, and then you can get the plaster style, which is the heavier stuff and a lot harder to work with. This was great. We stuck up with no more nails. It was super easy to cut, and it doesn't actually dent as much as you think. Like, I was treating it like a baby, carrying it out of B&Q and transporting it and putting it up and stuff. It's actually a lot more tough than you think. So if you're a beginner, a DIYer, or if you're simply on a lower budget, or if you simply just like the look of this and want an easier job, I totally suggest going for this style of coving. I will leave it linked down below for you, but if you are just popping into B&Q, it is called the Nyack, N-A-Y-A-K. Yeah, love it. So I have painted the coving. If you're wondering why we've done that, I've seen recently that people have started to do that, and it creates the illusion of the walls being taller and the ceiling being higher, which we need because our ceilings aren't super tall, and I do love that look. It just makes the room feel more put together. It really finishes it off. So yeah, if you're interested in doing some coving as a project, totally recommend. It's not the easiest job in the world, but it's definitely, it will test you, so it's a good little stepping stone in terms of getting some more experience in projects. Love it, love it, love it, love it. Before I wrap up the video, I'm going to be showing you what our next project is. So for a long time now, I have been considering upcycling the fireplace. I didn't do it last year, but I just knew it didn't suit the room. It just doesn't give the vibe that I want with this room, which is super cozy. A couple of weeks ago, we actually paid a gas engineer to come out and test the fireplace to make sure that it was locked off and that I could go ahead and remove the mantle or the surround, anything that I wanted to do in the future. And it was actually quite funny. I mean, it was and it wasn't. He came round, and I don't know if you can see from here, but there's a small pipe on the floor next to the fireplace which is already capped off, so the gas wasn't running to the fireplace the whole time. He ended up coming and literally just pulled the grate out of the fireplace. We had like an old style grate with coal on top. It was like an old gas fireplace that you could use, but it wasn't in working order. You couldn't actually use it because it wasn't functional. So because it's gas, I don't play about with gas. I'll try my hand at electrics to a point. Gas, no, we're not doing that, and it's just, don't ever do that. So yeah, we got this guy out, and he literally was like awkwardly like pulled this little gas thing out. He was like, yeah, it's already disconnected, but his call out fee was like just over 100 quid. And I was like, yeah. And then so I basically just asked him as many questions as I could to try and get at least some money's worth. But yeah, it's all locked off. He took the fireplace out, and I've been thinking, how can I make this cozier? Because I don't know if we're going to keep the fireplace in the future. I'm not going to lie, it's not central to the room. It irks me a little bit. I feel like it just, I don't know, I just don't love it. When we first got the house, I was buzzing that we had a fireplace, but I think now living with it, I'm kind of like, I don't know. For the Christmas season, we're going to be doing a little upcycle, so you'll have to wait for the next video for that to see what we're doing. I'm not going to lie, it was a bit of a struggle, but we will talk about that in the next video. Anyway guys, thank you so much for watching. I really hope that you enjoyed the video. Get subscribed if you're not already, and I will see you in the next one. Take care guys, bye.